everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Inside Geography with Saad Rahoojo. I hope you all are fine and doing good at your homes and being careful and remaining inside your homes because we have been in quarantine for a long time now. So today the topic which we are being discussing is from the settlement geography. Settlement geography also one of the a major part of human geography. So in settlement geography, we learn about the settlement, history, background, evolution of settlement. Then we also learn about the types, form, and the patterns of settlement. So it's also been a very long and lengthy, I'd say, subject. Most of the students from social sciences, also the geography, they have a great interest in the settlement geography. The second part of settlement geography, which is being focusing the urbanization or the urban settlements, where you have been discussing the urban problems, urban land use, and nowadays we have urban, the number of the people who are been increasing in terms of population. And so we have lots of issues in urban settlement. So the topic which we discuss today is a basic or initial topic. We'll discuss the settlement types, settlements pattern, and settlement functions, and what are the factors which are being influencing the settlements. I'll also intend to make another video on the history of the settlement, how the settlements evolved, and what was the role of agriculture or farming and the industry in the evolution and development of the settlement. So let's go to the slides and start our lecture. As I told you, it's about the settlement geography. Yes, so in this lecture, we'll discuss the settlement types. Then we also discuss the patterns and the functions. Also, we discuss the characteristics of the settlement. So what does mean by the settlement? Settlement कहते हैं किसको है? So a settlement is an organized human habitation. A place where people live or place where people live together, engage in various social, economic, and political activities. So in very simple way, settlement is a place where we are being living. And at the same time, when we are being, not only we are being living there, but we have also some sort of engagement with our fellows in terms of social, political, and economic activity. So not only we are been living there, but we have at the same time we have also emotional attachment with that place. So settlement varies in size from a single isolated dwelling to a mega metropolitan city. So settlement can be a simple, which is based on single house where very less number of the people are being there, and it goes towards the mega settlement when we have a metropolitan or the bigger city. So it can start from very simple, a single, to the multi. Settlement can either be temporary or the permanent. So you can understand from that the settlement where we are been living there, it can be a temporary, where we have been living there, where we have some sort of target or the purpose, or we are being, compelled to leave that place once, we feel some factors which are pushing us to leave that place. So we also discussed what does mean by temporary and the permanent. So permanent means when you are living there for longer periods, and so you don't have an intention to change that. So now we discuss the functions of settlement. So settlements are being identified or acknowledged or classified sometime on the basis of their functions. So what does it mean by the functions? The function of a settlement relates to its economic and social development is its dominant character. So there are the settlement, there are certain characteristics, certain factors or certain things which make it more popular, or which give it a name, or you can say which become the factor of identification. यानी कि जहाँ पे कोई ऐसी सेटलमेंट जिसका कोई एक फैक्टर हो, कोई एक कंपोनेंट हो which is more popular or which is more dominant, which make it more dominant or popular, तो उसको हम कहते हैं it is being classified on basis of function. So the function of settlement, its economic and social development is its dominant character. कोई भी एक फैक्टर हो जिसकी वजह से वो सेटलमेंट पहचानी गई हो, कोई एक फैक्टर हो, कोई dominant character हो. So every settlement has a function. Yeah, sometimes they are being being popular, identified, classified on the basis of tourism, tourist attraction, sometime on education or health facility, or you can say administration, yeah, you can say recreation or religion. So there can be a different functions. However, a majority of the settlements are multifunctional, have more than one function. Like London, Karachi, Mumbai, or the bigger cities, the settlements are being known, are being identified, or you can say being popular or being classified on the basis of their function. But in today's world, a majority of the settlements, they don't have one function, they are multifunctional. आप जहाँ पे भी रहते हो, कोई भी जगह हो, कोई भी सेटलमेंट हो, जाहिर बात है उसमें हर चीज मौजूद होगी. It's not like only one character has been there. तो अगर उसमें कोई एक फंक्शन होगा तो शायद वो ग्रो नहीं कर पाए, शायद वो डेवलप नहीं हो पाए. तो इस वजह से the most of the settlement they are multifunctional, जहाँ पे आपको recreation भी मिलेगी, education भी मिलेगी, health भी मिलेगा, communication भी मिलेगी, administrative services भी मिलेंगी. So everything is being present there. So most of the settlements have had a change in function over the time. So the functions of settlements are being changed with the time. कोई ऐसा फंक्शन जिसकी वजह से आप पॉपुलर थे, वो सेटलमेंट जहाँ उसकी पहचान थी, मगर विद द टाइम एंड इट ग्रोज तो उसका फंक्शन चेंज हो गया. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कोई जगह, कोई सेटलमेंट किसी रिलीजियस पर्पस के लिए मशहूर थी, ठीक है, तो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता उसकी ग्रोथ होगी गई, आबादी बढ़ती गई, उसके सर्विसेज बढ़ती गई, ठीक है, तो उसमें और सारे भी फंक्शंस आते गए. So that function which was dominant at first, that become the less dominant or become the multifunction. So there's a mixture of the different functions. So what is being saying कि time के साथ functions change भी होते हैं. So what are those functions? Like we have a mining cities, we have a cultural and manufacturing, we have a residential, we have a tourist, we have a root center, a commercial. So these are settlements. Sometimes they are being popular in terms of mining, where the minerals are being extracted. So that is the identification of settlement के वहाँ पे आपको minerals मिलते हैं. Cultural and religious, sometimes the settlements are being identified through their cultural and religious, like Makkah and Medina, they have a religious identification. And if you are coming into Pakistan, we have also lots of places which are being popular, are being identified by their function, by religious functions. Like you can say Data Darbar, Lahore is being popular. Or if you are coming into the Sindh, we have a Seven Sharif, or we have so these are the religion is the biggest factor or dominant factor, which is the main source of identification. That manufacturing, where you have industries, so that settlements has been, like if you are coming into the Sindh, we have a pottery, this place site area, this has been popular in terms of industry. There are lots of industries, so the people are been living there. Residential, there are certain where you can say sometimes you see these marketing place where builders, they build residential area, then they have been popular only for residential purpose. Then we have a tourist port. So we'll see that market towns, there are market towns based on around trade. So where there's a trade and business activities, they are being dominant there. So those are being called market towns. So there can be lots of, so administrative settlements where you have executives and tax registrations, where the decisions are being executed, are being, so these are settlements are being popular, are being identified on the basis of their administrative structure or administrative characters. Like all the bigger cities are having some sort of administrative services. So like if you are living in a village area, you need to go to the town or any bigger city for your if you have any government or any objective there too. So culture and religious, we discussed that. Mining towns, manufacturing, port cities, like if you're coming in Pakistan, we have a Karachi. Karachi was popular. Even the Karachi was grown on, on the basis of, its ports, because it is at the, area where it is close to the Arabian Sea. So the Karachi has a, very short history. It just, evolved because of that water. So it quickly evolved, got growth. So then we have a residential service centers, tourist resorts. There are certain, even cities are set, you go there for your recreational purpose, for relaxation, for the entertainment also. And the academic also, the education has also been, I'll say, the factor which is being, helping that settlement in their growth. If you talk about the Jamshoro city, so Jamshoro is being popular in terms of education, because this is being known as the education city, where you find many education institutes of higher standards. So where we have a quality of education being part. So most of the people, they are being coming outside from the rest of the parts of Pakistan, and they get education in Jamshoro. So with that, once the universities are open, or the institutes are open, colleges and schools are open, the population, with the time, the population also been grown of these areas. So these, the areas are being, the popular by their function. So here, the academic or the education or the learning is a strong function in when we talk about the Jamshoro. So now we talk about the factors which are being affecting or influencing the settlement. So what are the factors we are keeping in mind once you go to buy a land or want to live there? So the factors which is always help and also determine your residence or your location. So there are two things which we need to understand, that sometimes being confused. Students are being confused. A site and situation, though it's looks similar, like even sounds similar, site and situation, and sometimes people are being confused what site means and what does mean by the situation. So we'll discuss this both. Site refer to the point at which a settlement is located. It describes the land in its build on. Factors such as relief, soil, water supply, other resources were important in choosing the sites of early settlement. So when it comes to the site, inside mostly we talk about the land, where we are been living. We are talking about the land area, that physical characters, mostly the land, what type of land that is. We also see its relief, its slope, and drainage. So what these things are being keep in mind. तो उस जगह की जमीन को देखेंगे कि वो उस जगह की जमीन की बनावट कैसी है, ठीक है. Like you have a water supply or the drainage, पानी ड्रेन आउट होता है नहीं होता है, पानी आप तक पहुंचता है नहीं पहुंचता है. उसके अलावा जमीन कैसी है, उसका whether there is a fertile, unfertile land. So relief कैसा है, देखने में जमीन कैसी है. So when you choose a settlement, you also see the site of that settlement. So in this, it's very important, to see the site. So you are being just concerned to that particular area. Now comes the situation. Situation describe where the settlement is located in relation to the surrounding feature, such as other settlement, mountains, rivers, and communications. So what you are being, considering here, in a site, you are concerned to the land, particular डेट लेनी है कि जमीन वो कैसी है, देखने में उसका रिलीफ कैसा है, वाटर सप्लाई, ड्रेनेज और डिफेंस, ये सारी चीजें वहां पे देखेंगे आप. यहाँ सिचुएशन में क्या आप देखेंगे कि उस जगह के where you are been living there or where you want to live there, आप उसकी सराउंडिंग देखेंगे, what is in this surrounding. You also see the both physical and the human or biological characteristics. आप उसमें देखेंगे भाई यानी कि वहां पे कैसे है, is there a vegetation or greenery or the agriculture or the mountains or forest, or you also see barren land or desert area. You also see whether there's an education institute, health facility, health services out there, or any administrative center out there. You also see the, the rivers, or road communication. So you always compare where you want to be live there with the rest of the land area, with the rest, its neighboring places. तो यहाँ पे आप उसको compare करेंगे by looking at all the ingredient, all the characteristics. So उससे आप अंदाजा लगाएंगे, if I want to live there in the future, अगर आप फ्यूचर में रहना चाहते हैं वहां पे, whether that place will grow, or it will be stand still. So it may not develop or progress with the time. So आप ये सारे factors देखते हैं कि भाई मुझे education भी चाहिए, मुझे health facilities भी चाहिए, मुझे communication चाहिए. If I want to communicate, go somewhere else, तो आपके पास, you don't want to live in a very remote area where you don't have a communication links, road links, railway link, or whatever you want. So you always see that place, whether that place or has a potential to grow. So you prefer that place to live where you feel that that place has a potential to grow in the future. So it is a situation of settlement that determine whether it will grow from a small village into a larger city. So it happens, as I told you, the settlements always been grown with the time. The size and the number of the people also been increased with the time, and at the same time the function and services. So most of the the settlement, if you look at their history or the background, they have a similar, like they start from the single isolated or very simple or traditional settlement, and they become the very complex and multi-services or multifunctional settlement. Major types of the settlement. Basically, there are two types of the settlement. One is a rural settlement, another is the urban settlement. So rural settlement, urban settlement. In a simple way, it's a जो लोग यानी कि बहराड़ी में रहते हैं, यानी कि country side रहते हैं, far away from the urban area, or the other people who are living in the cities or in towns where we have a more facility. So here we will characterize or classify what is the difference between both. So we have listed some dimension through which we will classify or distinguish or differentiate between both. What is the difference? एक तो different, definitely the size, land area, and also the population. वो तो है उसमें. तो economy, if you compare both urban and rural in terms of economy, the urban area, they are dominated by secondary and tertiary activities, while the rural areas, they are being dominated or being influenced by the primary activities. So here, in terms of economy, if you look at the what sort of work people are being doing there, or what sort of activity they are being engaging, because everyone has to maintain the life for their survival, so they have to earn something or maintain their life. तो यहाँ पे urban areas में क्या होता है, mostly secondary and tertiary activities are being dominated. So if you want to know more about these activities, I have another video lecture under the title of economic activities, so you can watch that video for your information. So secondary and tertiary economic activities, while in rural areas we have a primary activities. What are the primary activities? Primary activities, we have we have like mining, we have agriculture, we have a lumbering, we have a fishing, and we have a livestock. So these are the primary activities, traditional activities. There people are being engaged. So in rural area, people are engaged in primary activities, while in urban areas, mostly the people are engaged in the secondary and tertiary activities, where we have a manufacturing, or we have a transportation and services. Occupational structure, if you talk about what sort of work people are being doing, in urban areas, we have a manufacturing, we have a construction, we have administration, and we have a services. So people are involved in these type of work in urban areas or in the cities, while in rural areas, we have a primary activities dominated by the agriculture. Now, most of the primary activities, like, as I told you, mining, fishing, lumbering, or hunting, but the agriculture is dominant. So still, agriculture has been leading primary activities in the world. So mostly, if you talk about the primary activity, suddenly something comes about the agriculture. So agriculture is the dominant and primary activities. In terms of education, education level is very high in urban areas, while it's very low in the rural area. Depends, because also the quality of education that you both find in the urban areas. Accessibility to service in terms of whether you are being जो आपके what the things you've been required कि आपके वो काम चीजें जो काम आपको है तो वो होता है या नहीं होता है, whether or services which are being provided by the government or multinational or the private organization, whether you have access there, आपकी उस वहां तक रसाई है या नहीं है. So in terms of urban areas very high, and also rural areas is very low. It's not being high, it should be low. So access to information, we have a high access to information in the so there is slight mistakes in the, so access to information are high in the settlement, in the urban areas, while access of information is low in the rural areas. So it's all about the information. कि आपके पास information मिलती है in terms of printed or electronics or in mobile. So demography, when we talk about, so it is being opposite here. So it's high, and it's low, and the low. Demography in terms of population, low fertility and low mortality rate. So both fertility rate and mortality rate means how many kids are being born per year or per day, per minute, whatever we call it. It's very low in the urban areas, while the death rate also been low in the urban areas. I'll say the factors could be education and awareness. कि जो शहर के लोग हैं, they might have more information, more education regarding the family planning, you can say. So they are going less for the kids. So they don't want to they don't want to more and more kids. So low fertility is because of the health facilities. So यहाँ पे health facilities ज़्यादा हैं, जिसकी वजह से the death rate is low. In terms of so the number of kids are being born, they are very high. Maybe you can say early marriages, or you can say lack of education and awareness. The people are going more and more for the kids. And high mortality, you can say in terms of high fertility, because mostly people are being living in rural areas, you can say in countryside, so they mostly engage in a physical work. So once they have been engaged in physical work, they need to have a more and more hands. तो शायद दुनिया में ये भी कॉन्सेप्ट था कि जो है ना, जब आप जमीनों पे काम करेंगे, फसलों पे काम करेंगे, जब आप जानवर पालेंगे या इस किस्म का काम करेंगे, you need to have more and more people. तो इस वजह से शायद वो ज्यादा बच्चों की तरफ गए कि we need to have a more kids. So and high mortality, lack of the services, health services. In terms of politics, we have a larger representation, liberal elements. So in urban areas, we have more political representation. उनकी नुमाइंदगी बहुत ज्यादा होती है, but the people are being liberal in terms of their mental approach. So they are not being conservative. In rural areas, though representation can be higher, but here it's been the low representation. It can be higher, but the mental approach or mentality is conservative. Mostly they don't want to lose their basic principles, so they don't compromise on their what are the basic traditional objectives. So they don't go for the legislation very quickly until they are being convinced. Ethnicity in terms of the people who are been living there, उनकी नस्ल जो है ना उनका heterogeneous. The urban areas, they are heterogeneous, while the rural area, they are homogeneous. Heterogeneous means in cities and urban areas, the different people are been living. They are engaged in different work, and they have a different family backgrounds, different religious beliefs, and different they have been coming in the cities, are been living in the cities with different cultural trait. While in rural areas, there is more and more homogeneous in terms of economy, in terms of education, access to information, demography. अगर सारी चीजें economy भी देखें, if you are looking in अगर आप if you are being traveling or being visiting any village, तो वहाँ पे आपको mostly people you see they have a homogeneous life, because mostly they are being engaged in primary activities with the agriculture or the farming. तो उनकी रहन सहन यानी कि उनकी जो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट या प्रोग्रेस या सिचुएशन या कंडीशन है वो ऑलमोस्ट एक है. आपको नहीं लगेगा कि बहुत सारे लोग जिनके पास बड़ा पैसा है या बड़े जायदाद हैं. देयर आर फ्यू पीपल, वेरी नॉमिनल नंबर, वेरी लो नंबर, एक दो बंदा तीन जिनके पास वो डेरा कह सकते हैं, जागीरदार कह सकते हैं, जिसके पास जमीनें भी ज्यादा होंगी या आपके पास उनकी मिल्कियत होगी, पोजीशंस जो भी आप कहें. बाकी रेस्ट ऑफ द पीपल 90% पीपल हैव ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर लाइफ इन टर्म्स ऑफ इकोनॉमी. उनका अर्निंग सोर्स वही है, वो एग्रीकल्चर पे काम करते हैं. तो वो जो भी सिचुएशन होगी, वॉट एवर दे आर बीन अर्निंग फ्रॉम द एग्रीकल्चर, तो वो इट्स ऑलवेज इम्पैक्ट ऑन देयर इकोनॉमिक लाइफ. सो होमोजीनियस लाइफ, उनका एजुकेशन लेवल भी एक जैसा है. जहाँ शहरों में आएंगे यू माइट फाइंड इवन इन टर्म्स ऑफ एजुकेशन एंड हेल्थ फैसिलिटीज, यहाँ पे आपको प्राइवेट हेल्थ सर्विसेज मिलेंगी, प्राइवेट एजुकेशन सर्विसेज भी मिलेंगी आपको. तो यहाँ पे हेट्रोजीनियस कैरेक्टरिस्टिक, हेट्रोजीनियस लाइफ है, बिकॉज पीपल आर हैव अ वेरिएशन इन देयर इनकम्स भी उनकी अलग अलग है. कोई बड़ा ऑफिसर है, यहाँ पे इवन मजदूर भी रहता है, तो एक यानी कि निचले तबके वाला बंदा भी रहता है, यहाँ पे मिडिल क्लास बंदा भी रहता है. तो we have a category, a classification of different wages of the peoples, while in rural areas we have a life is homogeneous. एक और बात ethnicity में ये कही जाती है कि if you are living in urban areas, you don't know who's living at your neighbor. वो जो पड़ोस में रहता है उनका भी आपको पता नहीं होता. You don't feel pressure or you don't need to have interaction with them. आप अपने काम से काम रखते हो, आप अपना जो भी जहाँ पे काम करते हो वहाँ पे जाते हो, वापस आते हो. और यहाँ पे गांव में क्या होता है, we have a more emotional attachment. You know each and everyone by their names. हर एक को आप नाम से जानते हो. और मोस्टली ये होता है कि लोग एक ही कम्युनिटी के और इथनिकल बैकग्राउंड के लोग होते हैं, तो that's why they have a more emotional attachment. तो अगर पीछे कोई इमरजेंसी हो जाए, कुछ काम हो जाए, तो people come for your rescue. लोग आ जाते हैं, आपकी मदद करते हैं, कोई ऐसी इमरजेंसी हो जाती है. और पीपल देयर व्हाट इज से कॉमन व्हाट इज से सेलिब्रेशंस, बिकॉज दे आर सो अटैच्ड टू ईच अदर. तो उनके एक ही त्यौहार होते हैं, वो सेलिब्रेट. शहरों में इस तरह नहीं होता. पीपल हैव अ डिफरेंट माइंडसेट, because life is, they have been living in heterogeneous environment. और यहाँ पे जो attachment है, it's a professional attachment है. जो बंदा मकसद है, कोई कहते हैं कोई टीचर है तो वो टीचर के साथ, कोई लीगल उसमें काम करता है तो वो उनकी अटैचमेंट उनके साथ हो जाती है. कोई बंदा बिजनेस करते हैं तो उनकी अटैचमेंट उन बिजनेस कम्युनिटी के साथ हो जाती है. तो वो कम्युनिटी बेस्ड है कि आपकी कम्युनिटी बन जाए. इट डोंट नीड टू हैव अ एथनिकल बैकग्राउंड कि आपको कौन है, कहाँ से है. तो आपकी वो जो अटैचमेंट है ऑन बेसिस ऑफ योर प्रोफेशन, सो प्रोफेशनल अटैचमेंट बन जाती है. देन वो दोस्ती के बाद वो even sometime being converted to the family relations. So migration is very high in urban areas because people come and go, depend on their how long they want to stay there, because unless they find their source of earning, they are been prefer to living there, otherwise they leave there. So or in rural areas very low, because mostly people are been living there for a long time, and so they don't need to leave that area until and unless they have they are being compelled in any political, religious stress or pressure on them कि कोई ऐसी चीज हो जाए जिससे they feel that they are not allowed, their life is in threat, तो शायद उनके लिए प्रॉब्लम हो जाए. बहरहाल वो इस तरह जल्दी छोड़ते नहीं हैं अपनी उस जगह को. Settlement pattern, today we'll talk about actually settlement pattern is a layout or the shape of dwelling in a particular place. So where you have been living, you see what pattern of that place is there. So if you are looking from the top, अगर आप ऊपर से देखेंगे आपको पता चलेगा what type of shape that place is. So actually settlement pattern is a layout. कि वो देखने में कैसा है, उसका शेप कैसा है. Settlement pattern takes a different form as it grows and attain unique shape. It's very natural. Once with the time those settlements patterns are being changed, because settlements been grown with the time, its size and the population is being changing, so it also takes a different morphology, तो उसका shape भी change हो जाता है. The settlement pattern may be influenced by different factors such as topography, drainage of an area, availability of suitable land for the farming, transportation, communication. So there are different factors which are being influencing settlement patterns. So you also see the topography कि वहाँ पे किस किस्म की topography है, barren land है, desert area है, mountains है, plateau है, alluvial plains है, you have a different topography. तो वो भी आपको influence करती है. Then we have a transportation, communication. If you have a transport and communication link area, the settlement will change with the time. You also see the drainage. So these are the factors which influence the patterns. So man also influence the settlement pattern as a population increase and man modify and exploit the land. So one of the biggest I'll say influential factor could be, or component could be the man, because now we are been living there, but we with the time we change that land area. Now sometimes we build or construct the new things, or sometimes we digging out that place, or once the top population is been increasing, तो बहुत सारी चीजें हम वहाँ पे करते हैं. तो what the man has been doing, it's totally changing the pattern of the settlement. So these are the types of the settlements pattern. We have a dispersal settlement, we have a linear settlement, and we have a nucleated settlement. So these are the three types of the settlement. We will discuss one by one what does mean by. So you can clearly understand from even this image or this picture the dispersal, linear, or the nucleated. So nucleated, what does mean by nucleated settlement pattern? So this settlement pattern consists of houses grouped close together as a cluster. So once you have a settlement which is so close, or the housing or the settlement or residential area are so close to each other, where we have a very little gap for them. So they give the shape of the like a cluster. So the settlement, we are so close together, they are compacted, bound to each other, bonded each other. So they can also build around an attractive object such as church, mosque, or well. So there could be any element surrounding that element, that settlement had grown with the time. But the thing is that they are nucleated settlement. Nuclear settlement क्या होती है कि वो जो houses होते हैं बहुत करीब होते हैं, वो इकट्ठे होते हैं बहुत, there little space between them. तो एक छोटी एक जगह पे बहुत सारे घर मौजूद होते हैं, तो उसको हम nuclear settlement कहते हैं. Factor could be anything, Now we have a mosque, we have a church, we have a well, or anything, कि किसी दौर में कोई वहाँ पे कुआं था, कोई पॉन्ड था, कोई मॉस्क, चर्च, और एनी मार्केट एरिया, एनी प्लेस, तो उससे सराउंडिंग में बहुत चीज बढ़ती गई. एंड nuclear settlement may develop as a result of availability of social services and presence of industrial plants and education institutes. So they can be developed from the social services. Now where you are been living, you need to have a social and legal services there. So they can have an industrial or education institutes, multi-education and industrial availability of industries or education institutes are being there. So they, the social services or the presence of industry, they always encourage the nucleated patterns. You can say nucleated settlement pattern are based on these, factors. So linear settlement pattern may develop along communication line, along a specific physical features such as river, house, and other structure appear to be arranged in a line along the road. Linear settlement means a settlement which are being arranged in a sequence or in a line, or a straight line. So you can see from here that we have a road, or this is the, you can say a river, or in the ocean or water reservoir. So what is being, so linear settlement pattern may develop along communication line, along specific physical features such as river, house, other structure appear to be arranged in a line along road, river, canal, coastal lines such as settlement may form a curve depending on the shape of feature. Linear settlements are common along coast of East Africa, along shores of Lake Tanganyika, and along some parts of Victoria. Indus River, Indus Highway in Pakistan is so popular. If you look at particular local example, if you talk about the Pakistan, we have an Indus River. So if you look at the map of Pakistan, you see most of the settlements are the population concentration is at the sides of Indus River. So the most residential or the population has been found at the corners or the side area from both sides of Indus River. Similar Indus Highway, because water is very important, communications are very important. So people want to prefer to live closer to these facilities, closer to these objects where they can fulfill their needs. So in Pakistan, we have Indus Highway or Indus River, they are being there. So if you even if you look at the what is say where the world, the population growth or settlement growth, you find these things where the availability of water, I'll say in the road communication, so mostly people who are been living, they prefer to live, so in linear we have also linear crossroads or squared. So wherever we have a communication, Pakistan में तो ज़्यादातर यही होता है कि जहाँ पे जैसे इंडस हाईवे, मोटर हाईवे, सो मोटरवे, तो जहाँ जहाँ वो करीब है तो लोग उनके करीब रहना शुरू कर देते, because this is the biggest link with the rest of the world or the rest of the parts of the country. तो उनके लिए बहुत easy हो जाता है कि वो उनकी access हो जाती है. Dispersed settlement, where scattered or dispersed settlement pattern consists of houses or other structures which are scattered or spread out large areas. So we have houses, but they are far away from each other. They are being scattered. वहाँ पे अलग. Now they are be occupying a very long area, very big area, but the houses are in low number. There are very few houses. So you can see in the image also here, they are far away from each other. Land area is bigger ones. So the houses may be separated from one another by physical features such as valley, river, ridges. It can be any factor. बीच में पानी आ गया, कोई वादी आ गई, कोई यानी कि river pond आ गया, whale आ गया. Yeah, even people have उनके पास opportunity, उनके पास ये है कि they can live far away from each other because वहाँ पे ज़मीन ज़्यादा है, तो they can live there. Mostly it happens in rural areas. Nucleated settlement happens in the urban areas. It can also happen in rural areas also, but it depends on. But here mostly dispersed settlement happens in rural areas, जहाँ पे land area ज़्यादा हो और people उनके पास ये इख्तियार हो, क्या कहते हैं कि उनके पास इतना तो है कि they can live at any distance or any place which suits them. So yeah, so dispersed settlement is a common in areas where people own individual tracts of land, mostly in rural areas. यहाँ पे अक्सर लोगों के पास अपनी ज़मीन मौजूद होती है, तो इस वजह से वो प्रेफर करते हैं कि जहाँ which suits them वो वहाँ पे रहना शुरू करते हैं. So this is called the dispersed settlements. Now we talk about settlement hierarchy. So settlement hierarchies is based on the size, shape, and service of the settlement. So with the size, settlement hierarchy being changed. So hierarchy either from ascending or descending order, from bottom to top, or from top to bottom, whatever you call. So it's always been changing. So size matters here, also same time the services and the shape matters here. So hierarchy, sometimes people consider the population, sometimes they consider the size. कभी लोग size के हिसाब से उसको hierarchy को classify करते हैं. कभी they include the population, number of people. कि भाई from simple to complex, from one single services to multi services settlement. तो वो इस हिसाब से. So if you look at the hierarchy, we have an isolated dwelling, we have a hamlet, we have a village, we have a small town, we have a large town, we have a city, and we have a conurbation. Now all settlements have a different functions in the services, and we also keep in mind their population, demography. and also same time the size. So isolated dwelling is a single house. Let's see, we have another. Yes, we have this one also. So you can see from here. So here we start from very simple, from low to the high hierarchy, or from low to high, in terms of also size. So isolated dwelling, often in rural areas, these tend to be farmhouse or the holiday homes. Isolated dwelling is based on single house. Some cases you can say single or two houses. Mostly it's been based on the single house. It's far away from the main population area. Either the objective of having a isolated single house, you might have a farmhouse there, or any agricultural land area where you need to take care of that land area, or you have something special there, or some people go for the recreation purpose. So there are any resort there. So people, once they need a recreation or relaxation, so they leave the main residential area and they go there for a few days. So it can be a farmhouse, or you can say any resort, recreational spot, or holidays. So if you talk about, it's been based on the single house. तो इसमें एक कोई घर होता है. So लोग जो है वहाँ पे क्या करते हैं, वो अपना जो राशन, खाना पीना जो चीज़ होती है, वो शायद इकट्ठा करके वहाँ पे रखते हैं. And there's no any social economic facilities there, or in any services from the government. So then comes the hamlet. Hamlet have a very tiny population and few services of any. Hamlet is based on 2, 3, 4 houses. Is this also been a similar character as we have isolated dwelling? So there are some families, they are been living there, so they have a particular type of work. या तो जमीनों की केयर करते हैं, या जानवर पालते हैं, या कोई ऐसी चीज है, कोई स्मॉल इंडस्ट्री है, कुछ ऐसी चीज है कि वो चीज बनाते हैं और वहाँ पे रहते हैं, या दे सर्व द पीपल, कि वो लोग जो आते हैं वहाँ पे क्या कहते हैं for the recreation purpose, तो उनके लिए खाना पीना हो रहा. Then comes the village. Village start to have some basic services like petrol stations or village shops. अच्छा, यहाँ पे not only the size been increasing but also population, demography has been changing here. तो उनकी population भी बढ़ रही है. So when you talk about the villages, तो village में you might find some executive functions here, or some services here, where you might have a post office or primary education there. Some basic health units also being found there. So village, it is the last settlement form of the settlement, which connect to the urban area. So when you talk about the population, it is 100,000 people. Village. It's not compulsory that every village is 1,000 people. It depends. Even if you compare the rural and urban areas in Europe or in the first world or the third world, you find the quite opposite from each other. जो हम किताबों में पढ़ते हैं या जो हमें literature दिया जाता है, शायद if you come to the part of our part of the world, like we have Pakistan, India, we have these villages, or they have a high number of the people are living there. So 5,000, even 10,000, even if you go to the China. But in terms of facilities, if you compare the cities, or towns of third world with the first world, तो उनके जो first world के villages हैं, even they are more modernized, having more facility than the town and cities of the third world countries. So it depends on the facilities of where you are be living there. So then comes the town. Towns see an increase in services. For example, they would have a senior schools and the police stations. They have more facilities. Size also been increasing, more population there. Town, actually, sometimes you find the market town in the books. With another terms, we use market town. अब क्या होता है, market town connect the urban areas, the bigger cities with the rural areas. So mostly उसको market town इस वजह से हम कहते हैं कि they are being small, at the moderate, smaller than the than the cities, but bigger than the villages. So village kya karti hain? They provide the what is it? The raw material, raw product. That product is being processed at the market town. You know, whether you might find some industries there or some process units. So those products are being reshaped, are being packed or being processed. They're now sent to the cities or or the urban areas. So sometimes it's been called market town. Mostly this word is being used in the books, market town. Then comes the cities. Acha, town ki kitni abadi hoti hai? 1,000 to 20,000 people. Then comes the cities. A city would have a wide range of services, but not as many as large cities. There has also been classification or differentiation between city, larger city, metropolitan or megapolitan. So city has a population, in terms of population, 1 lakh to 3 lakh. Then comes to metropoles. A city and surrounding town that are close proximity have started to merge into each other. The population is 1 to 3 million people. Ab yahan pe kya hota hai? Metropoles, we have a city which is central city, what we call, which start from simple, is slowly and gradually being grown with the time, and also services being. But in a metropolitan, we have a smaller towns at the outskirts of that city. कि कोई residential area आ गई, builders बनाते हैं जाके भाई ये London town हो गया, ये हो गया वो. Then what they do, slowly gradually these metropoles start to merge with the population being increased with the time and the facilities being provided them. So what they do, they grow and they attach and they tie up with the metropole. So then in the end, they become the part of metropolitans. Then we have a conurbation, a group of large cities and their suburbs that have strong link connection with each other. So a group of large cities. So we have different cities, like you can say, even if you take the example of Hyderabad, where we have a Kasimabad, we have a Latifabad and some other parts where they're far away from. Now they have been part of a group of large cities and their suburbs. Suburbs means they have been outskirts, far away from the main city, that have strong links connecting them to each other. Then they start to connect each other. We can say the conurbation. Megapoles, where suburb conurbation get 3 to 10 million people, and megapoles where conurbations have joined to become one large urban area. Again, those conurbation, though the places which were towns, they convert to the conurbation. Again, those conurbation merged into the main residential, main urban areas, and they become one city or one settlement, or we can say it become the megapole. So in terms of megapoles, we have a 10 million people. So Pakistan have lots of cities, you can think they are being megapoles, like we have a Karachi, we have a Lahore. This can be a megapole city about. In terms of metropolitan, we have a Hyderabad, we have Multan, we have a Faisalabad, we have a Rawalpindi. They are being the metropoles of Pakistan. There's another term, suburb settlement. So in suburb settlement, like the people, suburbanization, you can say suburbanization, the people leaving the urban areas and they are again going towards the countryside now, because the world has been changing, so now after having health facilities or communication, more advanced communication links. So, and because of the pollution at the urban areas, people who can afford, they are leaving the main city areas and they are being living far away, because even the land area, value of the land is lesser than the urban areas. तो अगर आप शहरों में रह रहे हैं तो वहाँ पे ज़मीन की कीमत बहुत होगी. अगर आप वही उतनी पैसों में ज़मीन खरीद देते हैं far away, which is far away from the main or central urban areas, तो वहाँ पे आपको ज़मीन सस्ती पड़ेगी और बहुत ज़्यादा मिल सकते हैं. So you can, आप अपने हिसाब से अपना घर बना सकते हैं, अपनी सेटलमेंट कर सकते हैं. क्योंकि now after the internet revolution, now you have more information. You don't need to have a newspaper, daily newspaper, or you need to have a go or for the communication to the people. यहाँ पे भी आप communicate कर सकते हैं. So it was all about the the settlement pattern, types and characters and functions. So I'll also make another video on the history of development of the settlement. So from the settlement geography. So stay tuned with me. So if you like my videos, video lectures, so please like them, share and subscribe for the more videos. So till then, thank you very much. See you very soon.